So, Roman Reigns, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter why, what precipitated him not being WrestleMania. He said, hey, I'm immunocompromised after dealing with leukemia. I don't think it's wise for me to be in this environment where somebody might have it and pass it to me, and then I got kids, and I'm not gonna risk anything, so I'm not doing WrestleMania. Whatever precipitated him to make that decision doesn't matter. We found out about that before last Friday's show. They found out about it before we found out about it. Last Friday's show happened. They still advertised. Next week, Roman Reigns is going to face Bill Goldberg for the Universal title. As late as this morning, he was still all over the promotional stuff you would find for WrestleMania. This morning. Obviously, Roman Reigns isn't going to be in the match versus Bill Goldberg. They know that. And we, if we're paying attention, if we're the kinds of people who are dedicated fans, we either saw the report or know somebody who saw the report and then told us Roman Reigns is out of Mania because of the coronavirus. Like, he doesn't have it, but he's worried about getting it, so he's out. So they need somebody to face Bill Goldberg. The report came out almost immediately after we found out Roman was out that Braun Strowman was in. We knew about this, again, before last week's SmackDown. So we all had faith, I think, that they would figure out a way to film an angle where either like Braun attacked Roman or Roman pulled out for the very reason, and then Bill's like, okay, who's next? And Braun's music hits and says, I'll take you on. You want to get these hands? And Bill says, okay. Even that. We all thought anything was going to happen, to take place, to be shown to us on tonight's broadcast one day before WrestleMania begins. We all thought some angle was going to be used to write Roman out and Braun in. We all believed that. We were wrong. We were played for suckers. Just when you thought that they couldn't get any lazier, you realize that there's no bottom to their slothful depravity, no depth to which their torpidity will not sink, taking pure inertia to heretofore unheard of realms of simply not giving a shit. I give you the WWE. Tonight, right after giving an update on Elias, who was pushed off a balcony by Baron Corbin last week, we don't know. Perhaps Elias won't even be cleared to have his match with Baron Corbin tomorrow night. And then Michael Cole says, and also tomorrow night, we know that Bill Goldberg will now be taking on Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship. And that's it. That's the announcement. That's the angle they worked. That's the angle they came up with to write out the biggest star in the fucking company out of the WrestleMania main event match with a Hall of Famer They bring in somebody else via Stinger. That's what it's called in the biz. When they do like a little, hey, tune in tomorrow night for whatever. That's called a stinger. And that's what they did. That's how they figured out what to do about this conundrum. Well, Roman's out. We got to replace him with Braun. Okay, cool. Should we do anything? Should we write anything about why that happened? Nah. Let's not do anything at all. We'll just have Michael Cole say that Braun is now wrestling Goldberg. Should we mention that it used to be Roman who was wrestling Goldberg? Nope. Don't even mention Roman at all. Like, if they were any lazier, they'd be lying on the floor. Lying on the fucking floor. I don't think there's a floor. They live in a bottomless pit of laziness. Here's the thing. WrestleMania is for your casual fans, right? This is the time of year when you want everybody to be watching, to tune in. Hell, it's the fucking pandemic on. There's no live sports to watch. Everyone's stuck at home. You want them to be watching this show. You have people who are going to be watching going, hey, I heard last week Roman Reigns, this guy that I heard of, I watched The Shield a few years ago. I really liked that guy. I'm a lapsed fan, but I'm tuning back in now because, I'm stuck at home on Friday nights. So I heard Roman Reigns is wrestling Goldberg. I remember him from WCW Nitro. That's crazy. That guy's still around. That's awesome. I can't wait to see that match. That person tunes in tonight and is not given any explanation why Roman Reigns isn't in the match and why Braun Strowman is. None. How do you think that's a... And like if that wasn't bad enough, earlier this week, Triple H gave an interview about this situation. He says, and I quote, "It's a funny thing." Hilarious, Trips, just hilarious. "It's a funny thing. I think you can watch our business in multiple different ways. And one of them is the storyline aspect. Another way is the online component and the reality behind it." What he's saying is a lot of people know what's going to happen ahead of time because they, things get leaked and all that kind of stuff, So what's going to happen, but you're not sure how it's going to happen, so you tune in and watch that. So Roman has a situation and his reasons for doing the things that he's doing. Fine. But I will say, from our standpoint and from a storyline standpoint, this is what he says. It's going to play out in a unique manner, and we want it to play out that way. It's not necessarily putting me out in an awkward position. For me, it's saying, I don't want to give away the ending of the movie before the movie takes place. So I think everyone just has to watch and see how this unfolds. But it will unfold in a unique way, and it will be meaningful for everybody. There will always be critics, and we're doing the best we can. Really, Paul? Really? Really? This is the best you could fucking do? Michael Cole saying, oh, by the way, Bill Goldberg is now taking on Braun Strowman. And that's it. That's the best you could fucking do? Then fucking quit. If that's the best you can fucking do, everybody at your fucking company should fucking quit. If that's the best you can fucking do. But it's not the best you can fucking do, Paul. It's not. You can do a lot better, but you're not. You're not doing any better. I don't know why. I don't know why you would choose to do this. I don't know why. I mean, here's the other thing that we're not even talking about, that Braun Strowman hasn't been seen on television since he lost the Intercontinental title in that handicap match to Sami Zayn in his first ever Intercontinental title defense. He hasn't been seen on television. We don't know what's going on with him. We don't know where he's been, why he's been off TV, what he's been thinking, what his reaction is to having lost that match, to having been removed from that title picture entirely. Why does he, a guy who hasn't been on TV, who you haven't even bothered to write a storyline for, why does he get this shot at Goldberg's title? Why? I mean, there's no other alternative. That's the guy I would put in there, but I would write a fucking storyline for him. I might have checked in on him in some kind of pre-taped Skype interview or something, where he says, "Oh yeah, Michael Cole, I've been licking my wounds here in North Carolina, but man, next time I get in that ring, someone's going to get these hands. I'm going to get you next time, Sami Zayn." Like, I don't know, something like that. Or if you don't want to be a babyface in this match for Goldberg, you have him do something like, "Next time I get in the ring, someone's going to get these hands and they might not get up." Something like that. I don't know. Something. I don't know. What do you want to do? Something. You pick it, but do something. Here's what you get to choose, whatever you want to do to figure out why Braun is in this match. Make him a heel, make him babyface, have him attack Roman, which is what I would have done. Have him say, "I told you I wasn't finished with you." Then you have him crush Bill Goldberg. And then when Roman comes back, you immediately have Roman versus Braun Strowman. You get back to that amazing feud they had in 2017. That's what you do, because that's fucking smart. But you don't even have to do it that way. You could figure out any other way you wanted to go. However you wanted to write a storyline for how Braun gets into the match. But here's what's not an option. What's not an option is doing fucking nothing, which is what you fucking did. You did fucking nothing. Like, the only thing that would be less of nothing is if we tuned in tomorrow and you were promoting Goldberg versus Roman Reigns for the entire show. And then for the main event, you had Goldberg come down to the ring, and then you had Braun's music hit instead of Roman's. And Braun comes down and has the match, and you never mention why Braun is in the match instead of Roman Reigns. You never mention it. That's the only way you could be doing less than you're doing right now. I want so badly to like this product. I want so badly to see anyone putting in any effort. I mean, I can only imagine that they filmed something, but it didn't work right with what they were. I mean, here's what I think happened. I think they filmed something that made Braun look like the baby face, like something somebody would want to cheer, and then they were like, "Oh no, scratch that. Actually, we want to keep the title on Goldberg for a while, because we think there's a good chance we're not going to be able to tape shit after Mania. Not really, but maybe like once a month or something." And so we think it's better if there's no TV. We think it's better for the title to be on Goldberg a Hall of Famer, somebody with some name recognition, rather than Braun Strowman, a guy who we've misused for several years. So, I know we taped this thing where Braun looks like a hero, and we definitely want him to win. Like Roman does a promo to nobody because it's an empty arena. He says, I got to pull out because of my family. I think it's best, I'm not going to do this. And then Goldberg comes out after Roman leaves and says, pussy. Something like that. Something to get him super, super over as a heel. And then Braun comes out as the conquering hero and says, I'm going to put you down, old man, because that's bullshit what you just said about Roman Reigns. And then after they filmed that, they were like, "Oh crap! No, we actually want Goldberg to be the good guy here, because we want people to like that he has the title, because we're going to keep the title on him." Yep. So that whole angle we wrote and shot, scrap it. What are we going to do instead? Nothing. Like, I honestly feel like that's the only pot. If you actually wrote nothing and shot nothing, it's inexcusable. It's irredeemable. If you wrote nothing and shot nothing to cover for the biggest match card change that I can even recall. To write nothing and shoot nothing, to not even mention Roman's name when you mention that Goldberg is now facing Braun Strowman. If you wrote nothing and shot nothing, I swear to fucking Christ, you should all be fired. Like I said, if this is really the best you can do, you should all fucking quit. So yeah, I think Goldberg is winning this fucking match versus Braun Strowman. And if you thought that John Cena beating Bray Wyatt buried Bray Wyatt, just wait and see what happens when Goldberg beats Braun Strowman in less than 3 minutes, because that's as long as Goldberg can go without collapsing. You're going to have Goldberg squash Braun Strowman, and then at any point in the future, you're going to want to book Braun like a monster again. And I'm going to say to you, go fuck yourself. End of Epic Triggered Rant. Hope you all enjoyed that. I'm going to be back on here with Sean and Warren Hayes. Talk about Mania Night 1 and Night 2. Normally when I do a regular post show, I try and tone down my epic triggeredness. But I'll tell you, man, there are some decisions they could make in the booking of some of these matches that I don't know that I'm going to be able to contain myself. So I think you know what those decisions are. And if one of those decisions happens on Saturday or Sunday, make sure you tune in to the post show to see the fucking fireworks.
So as we know, Roman Reigns pulled out of WrestleMania, and it's not a secret. We have the video up on youtube.com/Fightful of him vaguely explaining. He didn't want to go into too much detail. I don't need a detail. I don't need an explanation from Roman Reigns. He can pull out of this if he wants. It's life or death. But this week, Triple H said in an interview with Ariel Helwani, quote, I will say from our standpoint and from a storyline standpoint, it's going to play out in a unique manner, and we want it to play out that way. It's not necessarily putting me in an awkward position. For me, it's saying, I don't want to give away the ending of a movie before the movie takes place. So I think everyone just has to watch and see how this unfolds, but it will unfold in a unique way and it will be meaningful for everybody. There will always be critics and we're doing the best we can. End quote. So Warren, the announcement of Braun Strowman as Goldberg's replacement was unique in that it was uniquely lazy. They just randomly, after bringing up Elias and Baron Corbin, snooze, say, yeah, now Goldberg will defend against Braun Strowman. Pardon me? Unique. Unique, Warren. Now, maybe something changed, as things often do in WWE. But I had to go back. I had to rewind 7 minutes because I missed it. I've been so conditioned to tune out these graphic promos to catch up on the live blog or stats or whatever it is. I had to go back and look. And I was like, really? It was just that? And I had people saying, like, surely they aired this out of order or something. No, because Braun Strowman wasn't on the show. And it wasn't last week or the week before that. My God. You had him there to tape the match, presumably. For the love of God, just make it look like he attacked Roman or did something. This is why we go off on WWE about this stuff, because it's lazy. It's offensive how lazy it is. It's an insult to the intelligence of people, and I get it. They are backed into a corner here, and it is not an optimal situation, but you know what? Non-optimal situations happen all the time, and despite the non-optimal situation you're in, you're still having WrestleMania. So if you're going to have WrestleMania, at least think up an excuse. Warren, how do you feel about this?
A couple of ways. I, of course, have no issues with Roman pulling out as well. That's fine. I don't have any necessary issues with Braun going up against Goldberg because who's your other option really on SmackDown? That's a whole other discussion. The reason why we're so wrong choice of words. The reason why we're so easily capable to find fault or get really irritated with what WWE does is because WWE, and this is something I've said multiple times, the biggest wrestling company in the world. It is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. It has hundreds of people under its employ. And I'm not just talking talent. I'm talking writers. I'm talking producers, live crew, TV people who know how to run a live event. I completely phase out any WWE staff, fan, personnel, whoever tells me we put on 8 hours of live programming a week. Yeah, but you guys have the resources to put on 8 hours of live programming a week. You have a writer's room of people who are supposed to sit down, come up with ideas, write out scripts, pass them along, have everything approved, and be ready for the show, and everything should be good. This is why we sort of lose our minds when these types of situations happen. Bear in mind, if suddenly Braun Strowman was Baron Corbin's opponent because Elias was pulled out and they announced it tonight, we wouldn't be flipping out like this. This is the Universal Championship. In the eyes of Vince McMahon, this is the top title of the company. It is currently in the hands of Bill Goldberg because they wanted a marquee match with Roman Reigns. It's not happening. But you still have to give us the marquee match. This is still a wrestling company. It's a wrestling promotion. You have to give us a main event that we are going to care about, or a whatever, even if it's not an official main event, a big title match that we'll care about. What is there to care about this? Especially since Braun hasn't been on TV since he lost the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, I'm I'm okay with him being on WrestleMania fighting Goldberg and not Tyson Fury. You know what I mean? That, don't get me wrong. And I'm glad that Braun is finally getting something to sink his teeth into at WrestleMania. Don't get me wrong. The thing here is that WWE has their back against the wall and they're not helping themselves. They're not giving themselves a chance for people to get excited about this. It's more like just letting the air out of the air mattress just before you're about to jump onto it. It's just as simple as that.